Om Namah Shivaya.
Om
Om
Sadashiva-Samaramбhaṁ
Sadashiva-Samaramбhaṁ
Acharya
Shankaracharya-Madhyamām
Madhyamam
Asmadacharya
Asmadacharya
Paryantam
Paryantam
Vande
Vande
Guru
Paramparam.
Om
Om
Sahana Bhavatu
Bhavatu
Sahana
Sahana
Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu
Saha
Saha
Viryam
Veeryam
Karavavahai
Karavavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Tat
Hari
Sat, Om Namah
Om
Shivaya,
Tat
good morning.
Om Namah Shivaya.
So as we had announced earlier, we have completed our study of the Prakarana Grantha, and so we are now moving on to our third Upanishad, which is going to be Kathopanishad. So before we get into the Upanishad proper, before the study of any Shastra, we have mentioned this earlier also, there are four factors to be considered, and they are called Anubandha Chatushtayam. What are they? What are the four factors?
What's the purpose? What's the subject matter?
Okay.
Who should study this? And
Yes.
the relation between the subject and the outcome.
Yes. And
Sambandha and Prayojana.
Prayojanam. Okay, so you guys should really remember one small little verse. I will put it in the group afterwards. Adhikari cha vishayaha sambandhascha prayojanam shastraram phalam proktam anubandha chatushtayam. Adhikari vishayaha sambandha prayojanam. Right? Okay. And what do they say? Shastra aramba phala proktam. Before you begin the Shastram, these four should be looked at. Anubandha, and these are called Anubandha Chatushtayam. Okay. So what is the Vishaya is the content, subject matter. The Adhikari is the person who can benefit from the Shastram, whether he is eligible to benefit. Okay, whether he has the necessary mental cleanliness, the purity. Then the prayojanam is the phalam, what is the benefit that will be derived. Then the sambandha is usually the connection between the knowledge and the fruit. What is the connection between the jnanam and moksha? That is the prayojanam. Okay. Now in Shastram, we normally say that the Shastram is unique only if the Anubandha Chatushtayam for the Shastram is separate. Right? For example, if there are two Shastrams and the Anubandha Chatushtayam for both the Shastrams are not the same, then the Shastrams, two Shastrams are said to be different. Supposing you have two Shastrams, but the Anubandha Chatushtayam is one for both. There is no difference. Then you cannot say they are two Shastrams. And therefore the classification of whether the Shastrams are of a similar type or not is based on what? On these four factors. On the Anubandha Chatushtayam. So we say Anubandha Chatushtaya Bhedat Shastra Bhedaha. In case of a difference in the Anubandha Chatushtayam, the Shastram is said to be different. Why is this important? Because the Veda is divided into two. What are they?
Purva
and
Vedanta.
Purva Veda and Veda Antaha. Now the point is, lots of people say that Veda is only one. But is it really? If you apply this particular classification, is the Veda one Shastram as a whole, or are they two Shastrams? So let us see the difference as far as the Anubandha Chatushtayam is concerned. So the Purva Veda deals with what?
Karma Kanda.
Karma Kanda means what?
Chitta Shuddhi, rituals and all.
The Shuddhi is a what they call byproduct.
Outcome.
The Vishaya is what?
Oh.
The rituals.
Karma and
Artha
Upakama.
Karma.
Finite
Ritual.
goals of life, relationships, name, fame, swarga, all this is covered by rituals, right? Children. So, what is the Vishaya? They are all finite. Because everything that is the part of the subject matter of Veda Purva is limited by time. And whatever is limited by time, it is finite because time is part of creation. Creation comes and goes. So Veda Purva deals with Anitya Vastu, finite goals of life. Veda Anta deals with a totally different subject matter. What is that? Nitya Vastu, Brahman, beyond Srishti. Therefore, you can see that the Vishaya is different for Veda Purva and Veda Anta. Okay. What about the Adhikari? Who is the Adhikari for Veda Purva?
Grahastha.
No, Grihastha. Both.
I'm not talking about Adhikari for Vedanta. I'm asking about who is the Adhikari. Adhikari means a person who wants to be eligible for doing karma. Who is Adhikari?
Grahastha.
Why do you say so? Because we
Because
just
they have
said the Vishaya is what? Name, fame,
Yeah.
children, right?
Anitya Vastu.
So all Anitya. And therefore the Veda Purva Adhikari is a person who is desiring all these worldly goals, which are Anitya, right? While the Veda Anta Adhikari is one who is looking at moksha, which is a Nitya goal, not a worldly goal. It's an eternal goal. Adhikari also is different. Why? Because the one who comes to Veda Purva is one who is interested in all the worldly goals. Chitta Shuddhi, mind you, is a side product. Okay. But the one who comes to Vedanta is looking at moksha. Right. Now comes Chitta Shuddhi part also. Prayojanam. What is the prayojanam, the phalam of Veda Purva?
It's Chitta Shuddhi.
Is that all? Can you do Veda Purva without wanting Chitta Shuddhi? What is the majority? What do the majority of people do karma for?
Artha Kama plus Chitta
For
Shuddhi.
dharma, artha, kama.
Huh.
Right? They want children, they want money, they want fame. This is what they do with all the rituals for. The majority of people, for them, the prayojanam of Veda Purva is dharma, artha, kama. While the one who comes to Vedanta, what is the prayojanam for him?
Moksha ideally.
Moksha. And therefore, for Veda Purva follower, the prayojanam is dharmartha kama, while the Vedanta follower, the prayojanam is moksha, nitya moksha. Why? Dharmartha kama, anitya phalam. And therefore, one comes for anitya phalam, the other comes for nitya phalam. Again, prayojanam is also different. Now, a very important idea, sambandha. In Veda Purva, the study of the mantras, they give you the knowledge of how to perform the rituals. Right? You agree? Somebody who teaches you the mantras, let us say you go to a Veda Purva Acharya, he teaches you the mantra for for wealth or for going to Swarga. He teaches you Nachiketa mantra for going to Swarga. So you have got the idea, the knowledge of how to perform the mantra. Will that knowledge give you any benefit?
No, you have to do.
You have to follow up the knowledge with karma, right? Therefore, in Veda Purva Jnanam does not give you a direct benefit. It has to be followed up by the karma itself, and then only the result is produced. So this is called a parampara sambandha. Parampara means there is an intermediate step. That is why your teaching also called parampara, because all the acharyas are intermediate steps between the original Lord and the current acharya, right? That is why parampara. Parampara is the sequential thing, and therefore the sambandha between the knowledge of Veda Purva and the result of Veda Purva is a parampara sambandha. Knowledge to karma to result. What about Veda Anta? Once you have got the knowledge, what is the knowledge of Veda Anta?
Aham Brahmasmi.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Do you require to do anything more? Is there a karma to be
No.
done?
No.
So in Vedanta, there is a direct connection between the knowledge and the result. And therefore, it's a sakshat sambandha. Once you have the knowledge that you are Brahman, that's it. Nothing more requires to be done. Okay. Therefore, what do you have to say? Whether are they the same or they're different?
But Acharya, I have a point here.
Yes.
Can I say? Yeah. So basically, we say manasik karma also. So when we do mananam, nididhyasanam, so that aham brahmasmi jnanam is shravanam. Like, so the teacher and shastra has told. So the
Yeah.
person has to act upon it through
No.
mental.
You have not understood the difference between, what is, do you know what is
Manasik.
Vastru Tantram and Karma Tantram? Apply that.
So, okay, subject here.
Yes.
Basically, the object subject thing, I have to bring it here.
Yes. Vastu Tantram is what? Is Jnanam. Karma Tantram is Vedapurva.
Okay.
In Karma Tantra, what happens is that you decide what karma you do. In Vastu Tantram, it is the subject which decides what knowledge you get.
Okay.
So this is the reason why I put all those did you know series. Okay. These are the confusions which are very easily possible. Okay. So because the Anubandha Chatushtayam is different for Veda Purva and Vedantaha, Shankaracharya says that the two shastrams are not the same. Veda Purva is one shastram, Vedanta is one shastram, based on the fact that the Chatushtayam is different. Okay. Any doubt about that? About the logic of the argument? All right. Now, what is the Upanishad? What is the definition of Upanishad? We saw that in Mundaka. Upa plus Ni plus Shad. What is that?
Upa means close by, near.
Ni means?
Removal.
Ni is Nishchaya Jnanam.
Nishchay.
Upa is, you are sitting, this is of course traditional, right? Right now the Upa is because of Zoom. But traditionally, you are sitting at the foot of the teacher. So Upa. What does the teacher give you? Nishchaya Jnanam. Upani. What does the Jnanam do? Shad.
Removal of.
Nashyati iti Shad. What destroys ignorance, that is Shad. So sitting near the Guru, getting the knowledge from the Guru, and That knowledge removing the ajnanam. That is one of the definitions of Upanishad. Now, Upanishad, remember, is almost always in the form of a dialogue between the Acharya and the Shishya. And in any Upanishad, you may have one dialogue or many dialogues. Now, we have done Mundaka, for example. That is one dialogue, if you remember. Only one teacher, one Shishya, one dialogue. Kena Upanishad, one dialogue. Now, there are Upanishads called Prashna Upanishad and Chandogya Upanishad, which have got one Shishya, but one teacher, but different Shishyas. So, there are more than one dialogue. Okay. Prashna Upanishad, for example, I think has 6 dialogues. 6 students, 6 different questions, one teacher, 6 dialogues. The whole of Upanishad consists of 6 dialogues. Now, originally, how many Upanishads were there supposed to be if you took all the 4 Vedas? All these are small things, but as advanced Vedantic students, we have to remember them. We have to at least know. Originally, spread over all the 4 Vedas, how many Upanishads were there, or how many Upanishads is it said that there were?
1080.
Around
You missed 100. 1180. 1180. Okay. Now these were supposed to be spread over the 4 Vedas. Of them, almost all have been lost. And today, if you look at the various publications, you will find 220 or so available. Out of these 220 Upanishads, commentaries are available on 108. Remember, there are 108 commentaries, not all by Shankaracharya, but commentators have commented on 108 of these 220. So they're all, good Upanishads. I mean, not that the others are not, but there are commentaries available, easier to understand. Out of these 108, there are 10 on which Adi Shankaracharya has commented, right? And Adi Shankaracharya's commented Upanishads, the 10 Upanishads, they are used very widely. I mean, used in the sense that quotes from these Upanishads are found in the Brahma Sutras, which is probably the reason why Shankaracharya chose these 10 Upanishads to comment upon. So we should know they are called 10 major Upanishads in English, but there is nothing major or minor about any of these Upanishads. All Upanishads give you the same knowledge, Brahmagyan, right? Because of the commentary by Shankaracharya, and all probability, Shankaracharya chose these 10 because he knew that Vyasacharya had used these 10 majorly in the Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras usually are based on this Upanishad mantras, right? So these 10 are a source of most of the mantras which are commented upon in Brahma Sutras. I'm not saying only these 10. There are many. There are many others also. Right? Kaushitaki Upanishad, which is not among these 10. That is commented upon in Brahma Sutra also. And therefore, there is a small little verse, which again you should remember. It's very simple, very easy to remember all the 10 Upanishads. Anybody knows the verse?
It starts with Ishakena.
Mandukya.
Ishakena kato prashna mundamandu kyatitrehi etereyam chachandogyam brahadaranyakam tatha. You should commit it to memory so that you are never, unsure of which the 10 are. Of these 10, we usually, as SPG usually chooses 5. And those 5 are what? We have done Mundaka, we have done Kena. SPG also teaches Kathopanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, right? So these are the 5 which we do. And we have an additional Upanishad, which is not in this 10, which we study. It's called Kaivalya Upanishad because it's a very beautiful one. But in our study, in our study. SPG takes these 6, finishes that, and then he teaches Brahma Sutra also. But Brahma Sutra has a lot of quotations from Chandogyam and Brihadaranyaka also. Therefore, in our study, my proposal is that we will do Ishakena Kathoprashna Munda Mandukya Taitari Etereyam cha Chandogyam Brihadaranyakam Tatha before we start Brahma Sutras. So that once we start Brahma Sutra, all I will do is I will simply say this, tomorrow we will discuss this particular mantra. And then you guys are expected to study that and come. Then Brahma Sutra becomes very easy for study. Okay, that's very far away, right? So let's come back to Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad belongs to Yajurveda. Okay. Yajurveda has 2 branches. What are they?
Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda.
Shukla Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda. In many English commentaries, I have seen some of the, famous authors also, including Indian authors, which is very sad. Western authors I can understand, but Indian authors also, they translate as the white Yajurveda and the black Yajurveda. Because Shukla is translated as white and Krishna is translated as black. So you guys at least please avoid using these words, okay? Just use Shukla Yajurveda and Krishna Yajurveda. Now, there is an interesting story. There is only a story, okay? I'm telling you the story so that you know what is the reason behind these 2 names. It's not relevant to Brahma Jnanam, but stories are always interesting, right? So, who compiled the original Veda into 4 Vedas?
Vyasacharya.
Acharya.
Okay, now here we need to specifically say Veda Vyasacharya. Why? Because there is another fellow called Vaisampayana Vyasa, who was a disciple to Veda Vyasa. So we are coming to that. So Veda Vyasa, after he compiled the 4 Vedas, he taught them to, obviously, to many, many students. Like we have so many students. And students themselves afterwards teach. Like we also have students who are now teaching in their own. So that is a parampara. Teacher teaches the students. Students, they start their own schools, own teachings. So Veda Vyasa, after having compiled it, he taught this 4 Vedas to many students, and many students started their own schools. Now, remember there are 4 Vedas, and Veda Vyasa taught all, right? Now, Veda Vyasa taught Yajurveda to a student called Vaisampayana Vyasa. So that is different. Vaisampayana Vyasa is different. Vaisampayana Vyasa became a teacher in his own right, and he taught to very many students. One famous one was Yajnavalkya. So Yajnavalkya, the name should be familiar, at least to those who have read beyond what we are teaching. Any idea? Sorry?
Brihadaranyaka Upanishad.
Correct. Yajnavalkya you will find in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Okay, anyway, that is a side part of the story. Now, the story goes that Vaisampayana Vyasa once, by mistake, killed a Brahmin. Okay, killing a Brahmin, not Brahman. Okay, Brahman cannot be killed. Killing a Brahmin. Now, that killing a Brahmin has got a name in Shastra. It's called Brahma Hatya. Why? Because Brahmin studies the closest of the Brahman. So it's called Brahma Hatya. Okay, Brahma means Brahmin. And there is a series of rituals, penance, prayaschitta karma meant to atone for such a killing. So he asked, who did the killing? Vaisampayana Vyasa. So he asked all his disciples, which included Yajnavalkya, to do this prayaschitta karma for 7 days, so that he would be free of the sin of Brahmahatya. So Yajnavalkya stood up and said that, Acharya ji, let us not involve all the students. Now, I am competent enough. I, Yajnavalkya, will do all the rituals all by myself, and then you will be free of the particular sin. So there was an argument because Vaisampayana wanted his instructions to be followed, and Yajnavalkya did not agree because he wanted to do it all by himself. So during the argument, Yajnavalkya became a bit disrespectful, right? It must have been some hot words, and therefore that made Vaisampayana very angry. And what did Vaisampayana do? He said, Yajnavalkya, you are not fit to be my disciple. You leave the ashram and go. But before going, I don't want you to take all the knowledge that I have given to you with you. You have to give that knowledge back also. Okay. Now, don't ask how, right? This is a story. So don't ask how this takes place. The story goes that Yajnavalkya obeyed the instructions of his Acharya and vomited out all the knowledge that he had studied about the. Remember, the knowledge is Yajurveda. He vomited out all that knowledge, right? And when you vomit, sometimes the vomit contains blood also, right? So when he did that, when Yajnavalkya vomited the whole knowledge out, the vomit was stained with blood. Okay, so it appeared black. Now, Vaisampayana did not want the vomit to stay on the ground because Veda is sacrosanct. So he told the other disciples that you please become birds and eat it up. So titris, they all became titris, partridges, and swallowed up all the vomit. Now, because the titri birds ate up the Yajurveda, which Yajnavalkya vomited out, this version of the Yajurveda is known as the Taittiriya. Okay, not Taittiriya Upanishad, Taittiriya, that whole Veda part of it. And as it came out in the form of black vomit, it is known as Krishna Yajurveda, dark Yajurveda. Okay, it's not very nice story, okay, but I'm telling you the story. It's only a story, so just don't worry about that. Then what happened? Yajnavalkya was no longer having the knowledge of Yajurveda, so he went to Surya Devata and asked him to teach him the Yajurveda. Right? Surya Devata, of course, taught him. And since it was Surya Devata who taught him, this Yajurveda is called the Shukla Yajurveda. Okay, there's also one more reason for that. You'll find that most of the places that you will look for why the two names are there, you will find this reason. This reason also comes from the story only. The Krishna Yajurveda that Vaisampayana Vyasa taught had got the Samhita and the Brahmana portions all mixed up. And therefore it is not clear. And therefore Krishna refers to the unclear part. While in the Yajurveda that Surya Devata taught Yajnavalkya, the Samhita and the Brahmana portions are clearly separate. And therefore it is called Shukla. Shukla Yajurveda, the clear Veda. Okay. Any questions? It's nothing, no knowledge over here. It is just,
I have a
story.
question.
Yes,
So,
Uday.
Vedavyasa is the one who compiled all the Vedas. So, where
Yes.
Surya Bhagavan brings some other Veda and teach it?
No. Surya Bhagavan is the Lord. He should be
Okay.
doing the Veda by himself.
So that means someone else also had learned Shukla Yajurveda from Vedavyasa.
If you take Surya Bhagavan as the Lord is the giver of the Veda.
Okay.
Right? You cannot take Surya Bhagavan as Surya, the sun. That's what taken as representative of the Lord.
Okay. Okay. So he skipped the.
He skipped the study part.
Okay.
He did. All right. Now, why is Mundaka called Mundaka? Why is the Mundaka Upanishad called Mundaka? I'll explain all this during my teaching. You don't remember?
Because one who has to learn has to shave his head and put the fire on
The
the
fire. You have
on
to
the
put
on the set and walk.
Okay, that ritual is called Shirovratam,
Sh-
where you shave your head and then you put a pot on your head. Pot has got some burning embers. Okay, and because shaven head is a Mundaka, it's called a Mundaka. There is another reason also. The Mundaka is the top of your body, right? Your head is top of your body, and Mundaka Upanishad is considered one of the most superior Upanishads, top Upanishads. So there are two reasons. These are the two reasons why Mundaka is called Mundaka. Why is Kena called Kena Upanishad?
Begins with the word
With the-
Kena.
Begins with the word Ken. Now let me ask you, why is Katha called Kathopanishad?
because it is a story, katha.
I thought that answer would come, you see. That is the most common misconception, that Katha means that it comes because Katha is a story, right? It's not. Kathopanishad is belongs to what is known as Kathaka branch of Krishna Yajurveda, right? The Veda has very many different branches associated with different rishis, and Krishna Yajurveda has got a branch called Kathaka associated with a rishi called Kathaka Rishi. Kathaka Rishi. Okay. That Kathaka word is simplified into Katha. So it's called Katha Upanishad. It is not Katha. It is Katha. Okay. So please remember, it is not, doesn't have anything to do with the story. It has a story, but has nothing to do with the story. Okay. Now we will go to the Shanti Pata, which is the Shanti Pata we do every day. So we will go to the Shanti Pata. I will
Acharya, but the other Upanishads don't carry the name of the Rishi.
No, they don't. Every Upanishad has a name for a different reason.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we go to the Shanti Pata. I will chant, you please repeat. Om Sahana Vavatu.
Om Sahana
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam Karvavahai.
Sahaviryam
Karvavahai.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Avidvishavahai.
Ma
Mahavidvijayavahai.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, remember that all Veda mantras have got swara, the intonations, but over a long period of time, they have been lost. For example, because mantras are not chanted regularly, have not been chanted regularly, you will find that the tradition itself has been lost. The sampradaya itself has been lost. So, for example, this lost sampradaya is a name, okay? Vichinna sampradaya, where the sampradaya has been lost. Even among the 10 major Upanishads, you will find that the swaras are not there for all. Mostly for Isha, Taittiriya, and Brihadaranyaka, swaras are available because they are being chanted regularly. But for the rest, they all have fall under the sampradaya of Vichin sampradaya. The swaras are not really available. Some are available, but whether they are the original swaras, we don't know. So we don't count them as the originals. And without swara chanting, there is a name. Without the swara, when you chant, which is what we all do. Not all of us, at least Arvind and all, of course, definitely chant with the swaras. But when there is a swara available and we are chanting without the swaras, then it is an inferior quality of chanting. It's called Dandakara Parayana. Okay, one of the ways. Okay, now let's come to the Shanti Patha. So Om is what? Om is the name of the Lord. And among many names in the world, Om is one of the names of the Lord. Because ultimately speaking, everything in the world can be taken as the Lord. So any name in the world can be taken as the name of the Lord. But here the word Om has a derivation from the dhatu, the root, Sanskrit root ava. Ava means to protect. Therefore, Om, avati iti Om. So one who protects is Om. So it means when you say Om, you are invoking Ishvara as a protector. So Om now. Okay. Now means what? Not nine.
Us.
Us, both of us,
Both of us. Who are the both?
the teacher and the
Student
student.
and teacher.
Acharya and Shishya. So why does Acharya need to be protected? So that he can teach. And why does the student need to be protected? So that he can learn. So the first protection is while learning. Then, so that is Saha na avatu. Saha na avatu. Na avatu. Okay. Then, Sa now, Saha now bhunaktu. So here may the Lord protect us. The second protection is there here. Avatu is also protect. Bhunaktu is also protect. Why two protections? So first you are saying, may the Lord protect us and may the Lord protect us. So is it not a repetition, a dosha, a defect? No. Because first protection is before learning. Second protection is after learning. How does it protect you after learning? By giving you the phalam of the learning, by giving you the fruit of the learning. So avatu is for learning, bhunaktu is for grant of the phalam of the learning. Right? Avatu is for information, bhunaktu is for your transformation. These are two times you say Om Sahana Avatu, Sahari Sahana Bhalat. Then Sahaviryam Karvavahai. Sahaviryam Karvavahai. Saha. Saha means what? Together. Right? And Karva Vahai. Maybe put efforts together. So the idea is that the teacher and the student both have to put efforts. So prayatna of the two people are important. Teacher has to put effort to teach. The student has to put effort to understand. Of course, we are not saying that Ishvara Prasadam is not necessary. The Lord's grace is necessary because, as we all know, there are two factors for every success: Purush Prayatnam and Ishvara Prasadam. Both are needed for success. Right? What is the effort that the student has to do? He has to not only listen carefully, he has to do Mananam, Nididhyasanam, he has to revise all the previous teaching. Right? You can get the full benefit of any Upanishad only if you have got all the previous Upanishads, at least the essence in your head. So by the time we are reaching Taittiriya and Mandukya, you must have finished so many revisions that all the previous Upanishads come effortlessly. Therefore, teacher must make efforts. Right? He must understand what the student is lacking and he must make the necessary effort. He must answer all the questions. He must also make an effort to come to the class after preparation. Because memory is notoriously finicky. He might not remember something there. Therefore, every class has to be preceded by enough effort of the teacher. Student must also put in the necessary effort by, as I said, revising previous Upanishads and making a proper attempt in the current Upanishad. Then Tejasvi now Adhitamastu. May our learning be Tejasvi. Tejasvi means brilliant, effective, bright and clear. What does it mean? The knowledge which I get from the teacher has to be ultimately converted into Jnana Nishtha. So in Gita words, prajna has to be converted into thira prajna. And ma with, so that word has to be broken up. Ma with dvesha vahai. Let there be no dvesha, let there be no dislike between whom? Between teacher and shishya. So for the student, remember there are three relationships for a student. At least during class, he should have only three relationships. The Acharya, the Shastra and Ishvara. So Ishvara is not available for direct, you cannot pick up a phone and message him. So he is not available directly. Shastram is complicated, it is not available directly. Therefore, Shastram is available only through the teacher. And therefore, actually speaking, the teacher is the only connection, only sambandha you have during class, both to Shastram and to Ishvara. And therefore, that relationship is very important. It should not be strained. Right? If the relationship is strained, if you dislike your teacher, Shravanam will be prejudiced. So Shishya must have Shraddha and Bhakti in the teacher. For what, to what effect? That the teacher is giving me exactly the words of the Shastra as he has been taught, not adding his own masala to it. What about the teacher? He must be compassionate. He must know how the student is receiving, make an effort to understand. And if questions are asked, he has to be able to answer them. Then Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Three Shantis are there. Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika. We all know what they are. Do we need further explanation?
No.
Hopefully not. Okay. With that, let us launch into the chapter proper. So we'll first read the first section, the first mantra. Please unmute yourself. Ushanah Vaivajashravasah
Ushanah
वैवाजश्रवसः
Sarvaveda Samdadau
सर्ववेदसम्पदौ
Asyaha Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa.
तस्य नचिकेतानां पुत्र आस
So Kathopanishad has 119 mantras. Okay, slightly bigger than the Upanishads we have done so far. And there are 2 chapters in Kathopanishad. And so each chapter is called a Adhyaya, and each chapter has got 3 sections. So there's first chapter, Prathama Adhyaya, it has got 3 sections. Each section is called a Valli. So Prathama Adhyaya, Prathama Valli, Prathama Adhyaya, Dvitiya Valli, and so on. So similarly, the second chapter has got 3 sections. So totally 2 adhyayas, 2 chapters, 6 sections. This is the structure of the Upanishad. Total number of mantras 119. 119. Okay. Now there is a name Nachiketa. So Nachiketa is a boy who is about 8 or 9 years old. Right? So he is the Shishya and he is the Adhikari, and the teacher is Yama Dharmaraja, Lord Yama. He is the teacher. Now this first Valli, that is to say Prathama Adhyaya, Prathama Valli, first chapter, first section consists of 29 mantras. And the second Valli, second section of the first chapter consists of 17 mantras. This gives these 2 Vallis, first Valli in its entirety and part of the second Valli, it is giving a story which introduces the Guru and the Shishya. The actual teaching starts in the second Valli only from mantra number 18. Okay. So until then, we are going to see the story only. And the story has to be understood for us to be able to appreciate the Upanishad. Then there is a name Vajashravasa. So Vajashravasa is the name of a great Vedic scholar, Brahmana, a Brahmin, who wanted to perform a yaga, a ritual, a yajna called Viswajit Yajna. Right. The Viswajit Yajna is a Sakama Yajna performed with one aim in mind, that I must go to heaven. Right. So if you perform the Viswajit Yajna properly as laid down in the Karma Kanda without any violations of the rules laid down in Karma Kanda, the phalam is given as Swarga Prapti. You will go to heaven. So this is Sakama Karma because it is talking about going to heaven. And heaven is not a permanent place, right? You will come back after some time. Now, part of the rules of the Viswajit Yaga is that you have to give away all your possessions after the yajna is complete. All the possessions that you have, without exception, have to be given away as dakshina to the priests, to the purohits. So this you must remember. This is an essential part of the story. That in the Viswajit Yajna, once the Yajna is complete, all the possessions have to be given away to purohits, to the priests as dakshin. So we said Nachiketa is a young boy, maybe 9 years old, 8, 9 years old. And that's why the word Kumara is used. Okay. So look at the word first mantra again. Ushanaha Vai. Right? So Ushan is derived from the root Vash, to desire. So Ushana Vai Vajasravasaha. This Vajasravasaha, desiring to go to heaven, what did he do? He performed the Viswajit Yaga, that is not given in the mantra, that we have to supply. And Sarva Vedasam Dadhau. He gave away all his possessions. Sarva Vedasam Dadhau. He gave away all his possessions. And remember that it's not money over here, right? It means all possessions. So money, cows, house, land, bank balances, gold, silver, vessels, whatever is there, he has to give. So this yajna is not, when the stage is there, when this setting is there, yajna is complete. And Vajasravasa is now giving away the possessions as it is said to be done. So at this time, this is the stage setting, right? And then it says, Tasyaha Nachiketa Nam Putra Asa. Tasyaha, he had a, Tasya is who? This Vajasravasaha. Vajasravasa had a putra by the name of Nachiketa. Nama Nachiketa Asa. There was a putra, there was a son by the name of Nachiketa. What was son doing? He was sitting around and watching the possessions being given away. Okay. Now, you might wonder what is ha and why. Right? So they are just particles meant to, just fill out the sentence, give the mantra its meter. They don't have any meaning in this mantra. Therefore, some places they have a meaning, but in this mantra, they have no meaning at all. They are used as what is known in the in the Shastram as Shabda Alankaraha, as an ornament to the Shabdam, ornament to the sentences. Okay. And sometimes you can say that they are used to recall a previous attempt, right? Previous event. So supposing you try to remember a very long past event, what do you say? Well, those are all Shabda Alankaras. You can use it in that sense also, right? So here it is an indication that either you can take it that it is just Alankara without any meaning, or it's an indication that Shruti is talking about an event which occurred very long ago. Okay. So that is the first mantra. We will read the second mantra. The second mantra, you'll notice a particular notation. So that's a Vedic chanting notation. That is Anuswara, but it will chant it separately. So I will give the chanting. Let us chant first. Tagum hakumaragum santam
Tagum
Kumarim
Kumarim Santam
Dakshinasu Niyamanasu
Dakshinasu Niyamanasu
Shraddha Vivesha Somanyat.
Shraddha
Shraddha
Vivesha
Manyat.
Somanyat.
So if you are just saying the word, it is Tam Ha Kumaram. Okay, it's Anuswara only. But in Vedic chanting, that Anuswara, there is a rule that when the Anuswara is followed by certain letters like Sh or H or all, it should be pronounced Gum. Okay, so your Kumaram becomes Kumaragum. Tam becomes Tagum and so on. Right? It's only Vedic mantras. So Dakshinasu, when the Dakshinas, Niyamanasu, were being given away according to the rules, Shraddha Aveshaha. Right? Shraddha Aveshaha. Tam Shraddha Aveshaha. Who is this Tam? This Tam is Nachiketa. So Shraddha Tam Aveshaha. Shraddha took hold of the boy of Nachiketa. And that Nachiketa was what? Santam Kumaram. He was just a boy. So here you know that when a boy is normally, and the word Kumaram means a boy is not yet a teenager. So we take it as 8, 9 years old. And what did that boy do? Saha amanyata. He thought in a particular manner. Okay, saha amanyata. Amanyata means thought in this manner. Okay, what did he think? So there is, if the rituals are not fulfilled in spirit also, then there is a defect in the yajna. So the yajna has a defect in gunas, which is called vi-guna. So vaigunyam, which is having a defect in its gunas. And what was this Nachiketa thinking? He's saying that the cows, he's thinking, the cows which are being given to by my father to the priests, they are all not good cows. They're all, in the last few stages of their lives. So he's saying these dakshinas are not good for the yajna, are not good for my father. So remember now, this story is called Arthavada. And we need not look at the story whether it occurred or not, but Arthavada literally means explanation of the meaning of the rest of the. So it's an exaggeration. Exaggeration is meant for highlighting something. And when we study such stories, we have to look at the teachings. The values are important, the lessons are important. But the story itself is not important. It's like the, ganne ka juice. You bite it, drink the juice, suck the juice, and throw away the rest. The same thing has to be done with Arthavada mantras. Okay. Now, another important point is Vajashravasaha is the name of the Brahmin. He has two other names, Uddalakaha and Gautamaha. So this you will see in other Vedas. Important to remember, the same person. Okay, now in any puja or ritual, what is the objective? It belongs to Karma Kanda, right? And in Karma Kanda, you have to have a sankalpa that I am doing this puja for this benefit. So the material benefit which you expect to get out of the ritual has to be specifically asked for. That's a very important rule in Karma Kanda. Unless you say that I am doing this puja for this particular benefit, you will not get the benefit of that puja. So that's called a sankalpa. However, if you are doing the puja for Chitta Shuddhi, a spiritual benefit, sadhana chatushtayam, that benefit need not be specifically asked for. If you don't put a sankalpa to the puja, it is understood that the benefit will be Chitta Shuddhi. That is one thing. Secondly, Shraddha. Shraddha is to be understood not just as bhakti or devotion, it's to be understood as approaching the scriptures, Shastram, as a pramanam. as a primary source of knowledge. What does it mean? You accept the words of the Shastram, the mantras, as Pramanam. It needs no verification by any other source of knowledge. Right? You need not verify it. In fact, a primary source of knowledge, Pramanam knowledge given by Pramanam cannot be verified or dismissed by any other source. We have seen all this in the definition of Pramana. Supposing I say there is a book on the table, right? Remember that the sentence there is a book on the table is not Pramanam because it is a secondary source of knowledge. What is the Pramanam? Your eyes can see that there is a book on the table. Eyes are the Pramanam. And therefore, when you see a book on the table, you don't need me to tell you there is a book on the table. That's what I mean by saying Pramanam gives primary knowledge. It doesn't require any verification, right? Every sense organ of yours is a Pramana, primary source of knowledge, because you don't verify what you see with somebody else or verify what you hear with somebody else. This approach that what I am seeing needs no verification. That is called Shraddha. And as far as we are concerned, all of us have Shraddha in the 5 Pramanams, eyes, ears, nose, etc. And that same Shraddha has to be there when you are approaching a Veda. A person who has that Shraddha when he approaches the Veda is called a Astika. And Astika, of course, is a person who doesn't approach at all. Okay, now here Niyamanasu is a word. Niyamanasu is an important word indicating that in accordance with the rules, so that there was no defect in giving dakshina. Right? And when you give dakshina, there are rules, like the more learned dakshina gets more dakshina, more learned brahmana gets more dakshina. So for example, Chaturvedi gets more than Trivedi, who gets more than Dvivedi. Dakshinas are not uniformly given. In fact, uniformly giving dakshinas, which is very often done in rituals today, is considered a dosha because you are not considering the merits of the recipient. The priest who is more learned has to be given more dakshina. That is the traditional rule. So what are the defects? I said Nachiketa thought that there was a defect. What are the defects? These are, why did he come to the conclusion? All this we'll see in the next few mantras, which we'll do in the next class. So any questions?
Acharya-ji, even though it's a story, but Nachiketa is a young boy, 8-9 years old. How do we understand that he knows all those vidhis and all those things about
you will see
Purva Veda?
as the Upanishad progresses, you will see the dialogue between Nachiketa and Lord Yama, and you will know that none of us are a match to him.
Ji, okay. Interesting. Thank
Ravi,
you.
my question is just from the introduction part. Like these are, when you said in the introduction, they are so learned, and still when they have a confrontation and he gets so angry if they have not been able to control their mind, then
Knowledge
can
need
we?
not necessarily be assimilated.
Okay.
I've given the example before. All of
Yeah.
us are Vedantic students. All of us know we shouldn't get angry. How many of us can say that I never get angry? We are all Vedantic students, right? We have been for ages. Can you say I never get angry? No.
No, but we are
That's
just the beginners, and they are the ones who are actually teaching and
What? Even teachers get angry.
okay.
There is, you mean to say even a jnani will get angry.
It is interesting though that Yajurveda has this Shanti Patha, where the Vaishnav and Yajnavalkya had this discrepancy in the same Ida.
Correct.
It's a lifelong practical, Acharya-ji, not to get angry.
Absolutely. And anyway, the moment you get angry, you should possibly apologize immediately. That takes away.
And we think of you and the teachings.
Yes.
FIR.
FIR has to be thought of. You see, it's when you get angry, don't ever blame yourself. The fact that you realize that getting angry was wrong, it's a huge jump, huge progress. And you will get angry. On the road, when somebody cuts across your car, you will get angry. You will honk. You will shout. But as long as you realize that what you are doing is wrong, sometimes even as you are shouting, you are realizing what I'm doing is wrong. Ambarish.
Yeah, this Vaishampayan Rusi is same as Krishna Vaishampayan.
No, Krishna Vaishampayan. He was born on an island. I think that's why it's called Vaishampayan.
Okay, thank you.
This Upanishad is not the teaching which Suryadev is giving to Yagnavalkya. No, what story does that?
This is Krishna. See, the basic thing is the knowledge is the same. You cannot say that different Upanishads have different knowledge. I told you the structure is slightly more clear in the Shukla Yajurveda. The mixing up of the Brahmana portion is not there with the Samhita portion. In Krishna Yajurveda, you'll find it slightly unclear. They're mixed up. Okay. So with this, we'll stop for today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Acharya.